You've probably never heard of Kevin Blatt, and that's exactly how he likes it. But in Hollywood's shadowy underworld, where secrets are currency, he's the man who deals in scandals no one's supposed to see. From Paris Hilton to Kim Kardashian, if a tape was buried or blown up, chances are Kevin was somewhere behind it. His real title? The broker of the forbidden, the fixer for fame's darkest moments. If someone wanted a video either buried forever or broadcast everywhere, Kevin was the fixer. But lately, his name is resurfacing, and this time, it's tied to someone far more high profile, Meghan Markle. When Meghan left the royal spotlight and entered the frenzy of Hollywood, Netflix contracts, and PR warfare, rumors came with her, but nothing quite like this. Online chatter exploded with whispers. Not just that an old explicit tape of Meghan might exist, but that she could be actively producing new adult content. Shocking, right? Two wildly different narratives, both wrapped in controversy. One version claims there's an old tape just waiting to be exposed. The other, that Meghan might voluntarily step into the adult entertainment scene. Both sound far-fetched, yet somehow, Kevin Blatt claims he's been at the center of this rumor storm for years. According to Kevin, it all began around 2011 or 2012. A mysterious woman from Toronto, wealthy, secretive, and possibly driven by revenge, allegedly reached out to him. She claimed to possess explicit footage featuring Meghan Markle and a photographer in a highly compromising situation. This wasn't about money. Kevin insists it was personal. A classic woman-scorned tale straight out of a primetime thriller. The mystery woman was meticulous. She used burner phones for every call and destroyed them afterward. No email, no trace, just one cryptic conversation at a time. Kevin says he tried to go by the book, asking for a proper email to send over a non-disclosure agreement, but she ghosted him. Before disappearing completely, she claimed the photographer involved had started to unravel mentally, full panic mode. Kevin then approached Meghan's legal team, and that's when everything imploded. The deal vanished. The silence was deafening, and while the story faded from headlines, Kevin didn't forget. Now, over a decade later, Kevin's resurfacing on podcasts and interviews, sharing his side like a jaded truth teller. He says he's seen the footage, or at least parts of it, claims he's got 2 screenshots of Meghan from the alleged tape, and here's where it gets downright cringe. In one interview, Kevin flashes those images on his phone like they're sacred relics, but the twist? They're not from any unreleased footage at all. Turns out, the so-called evidence Kevin Blatt proudly waved around, it wasn't leaked at all. It was from one of Meghan Markle's old acting roles, something anyone could stream or find on IMDb. A public project, a completely professional scene, total facepalm moment. The interviewer didn't let it slide either. They called him out instantly, pointing to the polished lighting, the styled makeup, the cinematic camera angles. It was clearly a scripted scene. Kevin froze, caught red-handed. The so-called king of Hollywood scandals couldn't even distinguish between an actual explicit tape and a basic movie clip. That single moment shattered his entire narrative, because if he had really seen the footage, really seen it, wouldn't he instantly know that those screenshots weren't part of it? And here's where things take a strange turn. Kevin says he reached out to Meghan Markle's legal team. Their response? A flat-out denial. Not just that the tape was fake, but that no such footage ever existed. And here's the kicker. They didn't sue. That's the detail no one can quite shake. Meghan, who has famously taken legal action against tabloids, YouTubers, and even family members, didn't slap Kevin Blatt with a lawsuit. No cease and desist, no media takedown, nothing. So why stay silent? Is she simply trying not to add fuel to the fire? Or is something more calculated happening behind the curtain? Kevin continues to insist he's just a middleman caught in a messy situation, not out to exploit, just doing his job. But his behavior tells a different story. The podcast appearances, the dramatic name dropping, the recycled celebrity scandals. It reeks of someone scrambling for relevance. Well, let's be real. If you genuinely had a tape that could blow up the British royal family, you wouldn't be peddling your story on fringe YouTube channels like a clickbait merchant. You'd be in a boardroom with high-powered attorneys, not pulling up grainy images like you're flipping through gossip trading cards. And then there's the Cartier watch. Kevin went into detail about what Meghan was supposedly wearing in the footage. A Cartier tank watch, something she's been publicly seen with many times. He even claimed there was an engraving on it, to Meghan from Meghan. Sounds specific, right? But that detail, it's searchable on Google. It's been in magazine features. Fans and fashion blogs have covered it. So, when Kevin drops it as if it's some exclusive clue, it feels more like a rehearsed detail than a revelation. Still, the internet ate it up. Whether true or not, the idea of Meghan Markle linked to something scandalous set social media on fire. She's a former royal, a polarizing public figure, and now the subject of salacious speculation, all tied together by a shadowy Hollywood player with a shaky story. It's tabloid gold, and just when things seem to be cooling down, enter Piers Morgan. Live on air, Piers made a sly comment, part joke, part prediction, about a possible Meghan tape surfacing soon. Whether it was trolling or insider gossip, it poured gasoline on a rumor that refuses to die. Then came the line that lit the internet on fire. Piers Morgan said it out loud. "We're 2 months away from the sex tape," as if it were the next natural chapter in Meghan Markle's so-called downfall. The moment aired, it exploded. The clip went viral in minutes. Social media lit up, and suddenly, this wild claim from a controversial Hollywood tape hustler was being echoed by one of Britain's most vocal and polarizing media figures. And when Piers doubles down, it usually means one thing. He knows there's a rabid audience ready to feast on any drama involving Meghan Markle. The conversation quickly escalated. It wasn't just, "Is there a tape?" anymore. People began asking deeper questions. Why now? Is this all part of a carefully timed takedown? Is someone trying to trigger Meghan into snapping publicly? Or are these just attention-hungry men writing her name for clicks, clout, and chaos? Either way, the story stuck, because it was messy, and mess sells. But beneath the scandal lies something even messier: the legal landmines. Revenge porn laws have evolved drastically in the last decade. Every US state plus federal legislation now has clear protections against distributing, or even threatening to distribute an explicit content without consent. And if Kevin Blatt really had such a tape and was hinting at releasing or profiting from it, he'd be facing serious criminal exposure. This isn't tabloid territory. It's felony-level risk, and Kevin knows it, which raises an unsettling question. Is he bluffing, making unverifiable claims just to stir the pot? Or is he towing a dangerous legal line, hoping nobody challenges him in court? Strangely, Meghan's legal team hasn't taken aggressive action. They issued a firm denial, stating there's no tape, no truth, but didn't go further. No lawsuits, no cease and desist letters, no courtroom showdown. And that silence, it's deafening. To some, it's a power move, refusing to dignify baseless slander. To others, it's confusing. Because if someone was publicly accusing you of starring in explicit footage that doesn't exist, wouldn't you want to shut it down, legally and publicly once and for all? The real unraveling started when people began digging into Kevin Blatt himself. Not just his claims, but him. This is a man who calls himself a kingpin of scandal, a behind-the-scenes operator with ties to the biggest leaks in Hollywood. But his track record, shaky at best, half-finished deals, stories that never materialized, claims that always seemed just out of reach. And then came his most damning misstep, the screenshots. You'd expect someone with his supposed experience to know better than to show fake receipts on camera, but there he was, confidently presenting an image from a film. A fully produced, publicly available scene starring Meghan Markle in a legitimate acting role, complete with proper lighting, professional framing, and accredited co-star. Not a leaked tape, a movie you can Google. And the way he handled it? Cringe. Instead of owning the error or setting the record straight, he chuckled awkwardly and brushed it off, as if his whole narrative hadn't just collapsed on air. What was once a self-assured insider now looked like a man scrambling to stay relevant, while the world watched him fumble, frame by frame. It wasn't just embarrassing, it was exposing. The fixer who claimed to know it all suddenly looked like a fraud. The guy who built a career off secrets and scandal now seemed out of touch, outdated, and out of credibility. Years ago, Kevin Blatt might have commanded attention, but now, even the hosts interviewing him looked visibly uncomfortable, subtly trying to shift the conversation away from his claims without outright calling him a fraud. The damage, however, was already done. Viewers weren't just doubting the existence of a tape anymore. They were starting to doubt whether Kevin had seen anything at all, with his only proof being a blurry screenshot from a mainstream movie, a clip that's been airing on cable for years. The credibility of his entire story unraveled. What was once hyped as a scandalous revelation started to look like nothing more than a stitched-together fantasy built from internet gossip and a thirst for clout. Then, attention turned back to Meghan Markle. Not about whether the tape was real, but about how she would respond. She didn't. No interviews, no press release, no angry Instagram post. Just silence. And that silence took on a life of its own. To some, it was a power move, Meghan refusing to stoop to tabloid bait. But others saw it differently. If Meghan had nothing to hide, why not shut it down legally? Especially since she's never been shy about using the courts to protect her name. She's sued tabloids before. She's fought back when needed. So why not this time? The fact that Kevin Blatt is still making appearances, unbothered and lawsuit-free, raised some serious eyebrows. And just when it seemed like the drama had hit its peak, the internet found something else. The so-called twerking video. It was a low-stakes, blurry clip of Meghan dancing. Maybe at a party, maybe on a set. No one really knows. But somehow, this harmless moment was twisted into a new layer of the narrative. Online trolls folded it into the adult content rumor mill, as if dancing equaled proof of something explicit. The leaps in logic were laughable, yet they went viral. In today's outrage-fueled media circus, even a silly dance video became ammunition. Theories spiraled out of control. Some users actually floated the bizarre claim that Meghan had a humiliation fetish. Seriously, they pointed to her awkward interviews, viral missteps, and resurfaced clips as evidence of some secret desire to be shamed publicly, painting her not just as fame-hungry, but as someone who enjoyed the backlash. That's when the story stopped being about a tape. It became an all-out character assassination. What started as curiosity spiraled into cruelty. The online discourse wasn't about facts anymore. It was about tearing down a woman for being too visible, too outspoken, too different from what people wanted her to be. In the end, Kevin Blatt may have lit the match, but the audience built the bonfire. Whether a tape exists or not stopped being the point. What we saw instead was a brutal reflection of how fast people are willing to dehumanize someone they've decided not to like, and how quickly the internet will twist anything into a scandal if the target is controversial enough. Think this was just gossip or something darker? Comment your take. Share if the truth still matters, and follow for more stories they don't want you questioning.